Hello, welcome to Lime War. Today we've got a free-for-all and I'm actually playing in this one, but don't worry, I don't last long. But to be fair, just look at my positioning. I'm like the greeny blue colour at the bottom, but regular blue is Magnus, red is Vasvas, and yellow is Goosesk. As you can see about how the pick and phase planned out, I didn't draw a good set of cards here. But I still did get those two energy wells at the bottom. Magnus is choosing as close as he can to that choke point. Goosex going for the eco in the top, and Vas is sticking to his very own paradise island over there. But that does give him many options on where he should expand, which most likely will start where he knows is going to be free, in which he managed to pick in the picking phase, making sure no one else can start there. But let's take a look at how they actually started the game. So first up we have Magnus. He's got a blue command going out first. I think that is literally just to scout to see whether I actually did start there. He probably assumed that I was really close to him because that was my best position to pick, at least as far as I saw. I found sending a fair few units towards the back end section. He does spot me, but don't worry, we'll come back to the engagement soon. Over here on Paradise Island we have Vasvas, who is pretty much going all in eco except for a shipyard, in which he will be using to go over to this other island of paradise to set up the trade route that he's got access to. He's building energy and he knows he's going to need some more later, and he doesn't need as much now, so he's going to be building up storage as time goes on. And up here I believe he's going to be trying to get to this location first, as he knows it's pretty secure. As for Goosex starting up into the top right corner of the map, pretty much on his own for a little while, quite literally takes full advantage of that and sets up enough to have his city going straight away. He's got his units going down over to this direction where he's got his trade route there available to him, but he just needs to acquire the land, and he's heading directly to it to boost his economy as early as he possibly can. Although he is building some power plants over here, which is probably going to be useful because he has absolutely no access to energy according to the map, so he is going to have to rely on power plants. But I do think he may have built them a bit early, as he doesn't even have anything ready yet to be building any energy-based units. So that might be a bit too preemptive, but it really depends how he plays the next part of the battle. As for myself, I decided to go for a bit of a tricky tactic. I set up my lines before my production, which is something I don't usually do, but we have 3 airfields. If I have access to 2 energy wells, I assume I'm going to be starting next to someone. I wanted to have something full force. I will be honest though, I didn't expect to be starting this close to somebody. I was hoping to have a bit of breathing room, otherwise I probably would have put my airfields a bit further back, but I don't want them near the water because they usually go down to ships. Anyway, I did the best I could, but as you'll see later on, I made a pretty severe mistake. The battle is once again engaged, so let's get into it. So here we have me and Magnus. As we're about to engage, we can see that my commands are off, so let's just put those on. Now we can see everything. So I can see the few units coming in. I send in a couple of units to engage. I was hoping these guys would go, but I forgot to change this to arrow commands because I'm smart. Be aware that I haven't really played too much. I've been playing against the AI though recently. I've been kind of enjoying it when there's no one online. And yeah, my first 3 units get destroyed in the front because I wasn't paying too much attention, I guess. I need to be more aware of what I say on this and actually learn from what I say and see. Over here we've got the expansion from Vas coming in already. I assume next his move's going to be towards up here. Actually no, sorry, he's going to go here, which is actually a much better play than I was thinking. He's going here to cut off the section in this area so that neither Goosesk or Blue can get there. I can't remember his name, Magnus. And then he can just expand backwards safely. Down over here I do get the upper hand on the first engagement. I spot the defences from Magnus, which was a great retreat from him there. Just blocking off my infantry. However, I've gone mostly air units, and he's only got 1 factory right now, and has only got 1 SAM unit. I do manage to take that out straight away. I have a total of 6 helicopters already, and enough energy to supply them. I am in a very good position right now. But he's got 2 factories now, both producing SAM and SAM only. I'm trying to find a route around with my infantry. And he's just expanding backwards. He's got a few units in the mountains up here and he's exploring a bit more. And I've got my helicopters targeting the structure here. I was hoping to get it before any SAM come out again. Which wasn't a good idea, I don't think. Because they run out of ammo and I do lose a helicopter. My infantry have come in to engage because I did see the gap there. He didn't have any units there at first when I spotted it. But he has filled in the gap now, so I just used them to expand around. I now have some artillery to come in and help, because I noticed the defences were mostly just infantry, and I noticed that these are sidewards. With my artillery coming this way, I know he's probably going to just advance forward, so I try and bring these to come down in the side and hit the defence at the side. I know some are going to move that way, so I think I changed this to blue commands. I don't think that's actually showing, but if they weren't, if it was an orange command, these would have engaged over here, which is not what I wanted. But now I have a meat shield for my artillery, and I've got air units to come in and support. Now I noticed that he's only producing SAM, and I can't destroy the production structures. I probably should have tried other things, but we'll see what I do in a bit. I'm moving my helicopters off the airfields, and he's moving his units off of the defence by the looks of it. He's advancing towards my artillery, so I try and make a quick retreat, and I blow up my own airfields. Well, I had the idea from Infenzia. We've got Goosesk coming down here. I'm just going to quickly ignore what I just did there. And he's moving his units down here, setting up a defensive line just to try and keep the land that he's got. And I do feel like he has a great advantage right now to come and take a lot of territory down here, but he's quite aware of the opponents around him, and Vas is just making sure he's got the area over here, and he's going to be expanding forward. I'm just going to move back down here, as this is where the majority of the engagement's happening right now. I do have a few artillery backed up with infantry and some helicopters lying around there. See, my logic was, because I had loads of helicopters and he was only producing SAM units, if I switched into tanks, because I saw Infenzia do it once, he hit hard with air units, and then switched into different units, like mostly focused on the ground. The enemy had only built SAM to fight against the heavy air units that he saw. And then he was able to defeat him on the land. But unfortunately, I didn't really think about it enough to realise the game's changed nowadays, and I can't just really do that. It took me quite a while to recover from it. I also wasn't really meant to do it, but, you know, I just clicked it, decided to do it, and then it just happened. I'm just going to ignore what I did. Anyway, let's move on. He's going to push in hard against this little defence here. I try to make sure I've got units at the side there, because I wasn't sure how big it would be, so I just made sure I had enough. And he's noticed the gap there. I'm trying to put a unit there. He's got units coming in at both sides, because it's not a full defence, which was a really good attack. He's noticed the weakness, and he's pushing in. My tanks are now going to move in, but they're a little too late, and I don't have enough. But tanks are very powerful. I don't use them often, so I wanted to use them now. We got that moving in. Over in this section, though, we do have a few more engagements. Vas has found Geosex. Not Sex, sorry. Sesk. He's got mostly an air battle against ground. He's building his SAM units again. And we've got an aircraft carrier coming out here. We've got a nuke silo there. And we've got a decent amount of energy being stockpiled for Geo. Not Geo, Goo. I'm just going to call him Goo. And Goo is trying to set up a defense line over here, just to cut off that choke point for him. And it looks like he's going to be trying to use air to get some extra range and do a lot of damage over there. Down in the south, though, I'm doing extremely terribly because of my bad decisions. And he is going to push in quite heavy against me. I was going to be stubborn. As you can see, I even start building some structures over here in a minute. And I'm just trying to build up at least a sizable force that can handle this, which is just not going to happen. He's also taken my territory up here, so my economy is slowly going down. And I've noticed Vas has brought his navy up to this section here to tackle the defences. So it looks like Goo sets up defences a bit further back. Still well within range of these cruisers, and they are going to be trying to take them out. And every time a unit gets destroyed, it's going to try and refill and replace it, and the cruiser can just easily take it out. So he's going to need to do something about that, or rearrange his defences once again. It looks like he's got air units coming in, but they're going to get shot at by... to be fair, he's only got one anti-air missile ship there, but he is going to advance into this defence. It's mostly infantry, and he has mostly artillery. Down in this section, you can see me being eaten alive, and then I blow up. There we go. So I'm out of the game. I told you it was a short one for me. But I wanted to see what happened throughout the rest of the replay, so I thought I'd show this one anyway. We've got a bit of a dogfight going on over here. We've got Sam on both sides. Air units going down, that was Striker. On both sides, quite literally. However, Vas does have a bit of the advantage in this section right now. Just as he's getting a good few free kills. And he does take away the defense a little late. These units are not going to be able to do too much here. But Magnus is now free to do as he wishes. I have held him back a little by the looks of it. And Vas is fighting on two fronts right now. Magnus and Goo are leaving each other alone. And Magnus has absolutely nothing up here. And Goo could be taking full advantage of that and is not doing so. But that's the problem with a free-for-all. You're not exactly sure where your next fight's going to come from. And he's focused up here already. He doesn't want to start another fight with Magnus down there. The rocket does launch, and I managed to see it this time, which is pretty good timing. He goes for the production instead, which does fire the Sam, but does manage to hit. It takes out quite a lot of structures there. We've got the barracks just about alive there, which even though it's heavily damaged, it is going to cost Vas a lot of eco just to sort of repair it over time. For a barracks, I wouldn't say it was a lot, I suppose. But even damage does cost money in this game. I've been taken out, so he's got a new set of units down here ready to do whatever he needs to do. But he is fighting on the front on this side. Vas is pretty adaptable at the minute. He's trying to do too much, I think. He is engaging in a losing fight over here now. He was doing really well before that rocket came in. And he's still trying to expand backwards. Those air units are going to tear up what's left on the front lines there. Down in this section, it looks like the same thing's about to happen, but without the nuke. And those helicopters are clearing out most of it. He's got absolutely no SAM. But he does keep control of the ocean so far. We do have strikers for him in that on that little island there too. Vas is setting up his own defense now, but unfortunately he's got artillery here to deal with already. He switches it to an orange command. The infantry move forward, which is good, but he does have to deal with another rocket soon, and those strikers are not within the range. But he's got another airfield there. He could set a priority here and then take the priority off here, and then the strikers will move here, and you can get it a lot quicker. So yeah, if you click on the airfield, there's a priority bar that comes up on the right hand side, and then you can just click it. It happens to the airfields and the airstrips. And if you want them to move off of an airstrip, you just take the priority away. Another dogfight going on here, but without any interceptors, it's just strikers. So they've only got machine guns. Well, I don't know, you know what I mean? Cannons. It looks like the aircraft carriers are being in use right now, but the strikers have spotted them, and they're going to probably take out at least one of them. A transport boat has been built. I don't think that was intentional though. It might have just forgotten that it's the automatic construction at the beginning. Magnus has got a lot of units on the front line coming in here, but instead of trying to set up defences, he's going to be expanding and taking over the territory down there that Goo has left out. Helicopters are going to be dealing with the navy that's out there. But Magnus has a lot of units on the back here dealing with bats. So as soon as they're done, he's got even more cleared up to be able to use elsewhere. My mouse wheel's still broken. I need a new mouse. That one aircraft carrier is hanging on. And the rocket's off again. It's going to take out the defensive line here. Oh no, he's not. I was expecting an advance there, but no, he takes out the last two production here. How did that airfield survive? That was just here, and the airfield's right here. We do have a bit more production pushed back a little bit more. And we've got Sam right on the edge of the coast there, right next to these aircraft carriers, takes out a striker instantly. But he has switched into bombers as well now. Down in this section, Magnus has completely cleared out Vas. But we've got some transports coming into this section here. And they are mostly commandos, if not completely commandos. Yeah, we've got 8 commandos down here. They're going to be striking any targets they can find. So they're going to hit this, and then he's going to move down towards this section. I think he's hoping to catch the city off guard. But I do also think he's going to be very disappointed. Those helicopters are going to clear him out really well. One interceptor in the mix here is good because they've got great vision. And they'll be able to spot the commandos very well. But we do have a good group of helicopters anyway. So they probably would have been able to do that too. Just a few survived that attack there. We've got almost nothing on the front line except for Sam here. I feel sorry for Sam. And I've just spotted there's 2 rockets now for not Magnus, for Goo. Those are going to be really expensive, especially if you're not using them. They're a great deterrent, but at the same time, they do cost a hell of a lot. When you start building more than one, it does start affecting the amount of army you can start producing, I would have thought. I'm just going to quickly go over the economy of each player so far. As this seems to be the area of interest, I'll just zoom out as we do that. We've got 2 rockets, so we'll have to keep an eye for that. We've got Magnus on 1,200. Vasvas is on 1,400. And Goosesk is on 1,100. So Vas is in the lead right now. I am extremely far behind with 0 money. Just in case you were wondering. But over here, Vas is still trying to engage with Magnus. And Magnus got a nice little concave lake here, I guess. I don't know what that would be called. A little bay. He's collecting some units around just so they can deal with any emergency responses here. I feel like Goo is a bit too hesitant to attack. I feel like he could have taken advantage multiple times and claimed a little more territory for himself. He had an advantage against Vas here ages ago and was too fearful to engage. And the problem with that is mostly because of a nice hit with a rocket there, which I didn't even know he had. He's got 2 rockets now as well. But it's mostly because when you're in free-for-all, you do have to worry about like the fog of war. So he can only see this. He has no idea what's going on behind that. And it's that fog of war that makes you a bit nervous to advance. You may encounter more than you can handle. So the bomb comes in, and then we've got strikers trying to clear up any stragglers around. I don't think Vas is planning to engage just yet because he didn't really have too much of a force to push in with. And I noticed we've got a lot of submarines here. We've got 7 in the water going around this way. And there isn't too much Vas can do about that right now. He's got another rocket. So Vas has 3 rockets actually. He's got one on his little island of paradise there. And now because Magnus didn't try and... Not Magnus, sorry. Goo didn't try and push forward. Because there's a nice little choke point. Well, I wouldn't say nice. It's a big choke point. A rocket coming in to clear up that engagement force there. But this is a better place to defend than this entire section here. And I've just noticed Vas has 2 commandos who have snuck into the back of the base here. And they're going to be able to take out this trade route, which is really going to hurt Goose's economy, taking away the trade route there. But it's not just that. He's going straight in for the city and there's nothing here. I'm not even sure Goo is going to spot those commandos. And we've got two more groups of commandos coming in down here. They're just checking out no man's land between here. Right between the entrenched locations. Just casually taking a stroll in the park. The strikers are concerned about what's going on over here. They checked it out. They don't find anything. The commandos are coming down to this section here. Potentially to make a little outpost. Those submarines are pushing forward and they're doing a lot of damage. They're being protected by just one anti-air ship there. But there's far too many subs for those aircraft to deal with. They've also got the interceptor here darting around. And Magnus is going heavily into Navy units here. He's got 5 Navy yards and 3 sub-pens. Very serious about taking Vasvas on first. Did I hear a rocket? I did. We got another rocket coming over here. I'm going to bring that straight on the top here. Takes out most of the defense that's actually relevant here. And Goo does have a rocket available to him. He could fire back. It looks like the commandos go down. Oh no, actually one is alive and he's going, 2 are alive. They're going for this town here. And the rocket response does take out in the choke point once again. Got to keep an eye on what's going on all over the map at the moment. We've got the submarines checking out the trade routes now, and they're going splitting forces to both locations. And a bit of an air engagement there. And I've noticed a rocket coming in. It's firing back into Vasvas' base, but it's going to be targeting the submarines. Magnus notices and manages to save quite a few of these submarines. 3 of them survive here, but they're going to get taken out by the destroyers pretty quickly, and there's still 3 in the area. But the destroyers are finding them one at a time and is able to pick them off fairly reasonably. Over in this side, Vasvas is once again engaged, but it's been met with a lot of air resistance. And the SAM are moving in to try and prevent that. They're doing a good job, but they've done a fair amount of damage already. And the strikers are circling this defensive location. I'm not sure why they've put it on a black line. But as you can see, Vasvas did set up a little proxy base over there. And it's going to be using these commandos to try and go back for this trade route. They did take out the city. I did miss that. I'd be very surprised if Vasvas could counter all of this production. I'm going to quickly check on the economy as a few things have changed. So we've got Goo is on 690. That trade route and city loss has seriously affected his ability to play here. Magnus is on 1,500, whereas Vasvas is on 1,398. So Vasvas and Magnum are pretty equal in economy. But I get the feeling Magnus is going to take that away from him very soon if Vasvas doesn't deal with him soon. He's already got a bit of an invasion force going on here, trying to engage on the main island itself, which has still got a good amount of resistance potentially. It depends how quick Magnus can get there. On the other hand, Vasvas is pushing through Goo right now, and Goo decides to quit. I guess the economy hit hard when he lost a lot of that in with the amount of army that he had. It must have meant that he was in the negatives and he wasn't able to really adapt with that. And now both Magnus and Vasvas are pushing into these zones as well, but Magnus has a good range here as well. He's got quite a lot of units that are able to push forward equally, whereas Vasvas has to funnel through this tiny area. Over in this section it's looking a bit chaotic with the commands. I'll just turn them off for a sec. There we go, so we can see a bit more clearly for me. The city is being engaged there, it's going down. The other city over here is still alive, but it's definitely under threat. Vasvas isn't quitting though, and it looks like Magnus is favouring a retreat on this section. I think a rocket came in and hit. I will check that out. But Magnus is on the retreat from one side and is pushing in on the other, but the commandos have come in. This little proxy base may have actually gained him quite a bit of territory by being able to push these back. if he can, or at least slow them until this army can. I have noticed that Magnus hasn't gone for any rockets at all in this game. And because of that, he's been able to get up a large navy, I think, instead. He's funneled his money into that instead. And Vasvas seems to be building mostly in this section generally. So I don't think he's going to instantly be out just by losing this island, which looks to be the case of what's going to happen. Magnus wasting no time, getting set up with a town, potentially a city soon, and he will be trying to get that trade route set up. Cruisers are out of energy but in range, so they are still attacking that city. And the Navy's just doing what they can to get around. City does go down. Vasvas is trying to push hard against Magnus, but he's set up a defense in the mountains, which is a very good place to have your defense. It might be better to push him a little back so that when the units come over, they're moving slowly. So any infantry, if they're at play, then they'd be moving a bit slower, giving you extra time to do more damage. But I don't think it matters too much in this engagement. The town getting in the way does affect it a bit though. Oh, and I said he didn't have any rockets, but he does now. And based on his vision, I would have thought that he's probably been able to see it by now. So I assume that's going to be his main target. Magnus, can he see it? He can't, actually. He doesn't know where that came from unless he directly saw it. And he's going to have to guess in some respect. We're going to turn the commands back on for all, so we can see what they're doing. Vasvas has recognised the defence in the mountains. He's going to be bringing his units across the side here to try and take them out, negating that defensive bonus. Commandos are going to be moving through this section, try and take out these structures here. Magnus does have control of the ocean. He's making sure of it by clearing out any navy production on the coasts, and has set that up pretty nicely. There isn't too much Vasvas can do about this ocean control that he once had. But Vasvas is trying not to lose momentum, and he's trying to push in across this way. If he can just get through this side and clear out Magnus on the mainland, that will be a massive advantage that he has. He's getting his trade route set up again on the other side of the map, which was Goose. Been repurposed to Vasvas control. With the units coming over the mountains on this side, we've got a few engaging in the front, but that means Magnus has been pulling around the other side. We've got a bit of a yin-yang attack going on here. And the helicopters are coming in over here. I think they spotted the commandos who pushed downward. We've got those infantry clearing the way up forward. A couple of commandos tried to sneak in to take out some of these production structures, and they got through with a bit of damage, but that was it. Might have been better to just target the one structure with the small amount of commandos that was there. And there we go, Vasvas now has that trade route in production. Magnus has invaded in the northern section over here, which will give him a good foothold in the area and enough place to build and a good place to defend. Although at the beginning of the game it was definitely better for Vasvas to go into this place first, Magnus has definitely got the better chance of getting into this section instead. I'm getting some airfields going in the mountains over there just to increase presence on this section and hopefully support any engagements that are actually currently being lost here, I suppose. Trying to make sure I don't miss anything too much. Got defense of artillery here, which is being taken out mostly by the helicopters. But it is not a bad idea to try and defend the coast with artillery. They are pretty good against the cruisers, and they're about the only thing that can really handle them. Strikers are coming into the northern section here, but there's a lot of sand. A striker goes down instantly. Another one goes into the ocean at the same location for another. And they are going to end up retreating there. Don't think he called that off. I just think they came back anyway. Magnus is now able to push up into this section, and Vas is on the retreat. Air units just scouting the area, making sure no more commandos are doing anything sneaky. And the engagement's gone on here. He's not building any production here, just... Okay, he's building production here now. And we've got the main units coming in here. There's a defense line here, but the transports have redirected and come into the back of this defense. And is at least going to stop some units getting into that defense right now. But eventually they'll be able to take in from the back. Strikers are lifting off, but where are they going? Because Vas needs help on both sides. He's coming down into this section. He's chosen this to be more important. And to be fair, I agree. There is a lot of artillery here, a few SAM though. He's moved the missile ships into place there. And they were able to take out most of those strikers. Another one's going down. There's only two left here. One left here. And that's probably going to go down as it flies back over these missile ships, I believe. There we go, it does. And another one comes back in and it's going to get taken out very quickly. Quite frankly, I am not sure how Magnus managed to do this. I know I didn't hassle him too much at the beginning of the game, but having that sort of engagement at the beginning of the game should normally hinder someone just enough to push the game in the other people's favour. They didn't really engage too much until they had already built up. Magnus was at a fairly disadvantage at the beginning of the game because he had to deal with someone even if it was a noob like me. And everyone else had trade routes and cities set up before he was able to. So how Magnus pulled this off, I don't know, but he's done an absolutely amazing job at controlling the battlefield at every turn. The rocket does try and fly over, it's surviving just. It does get taken out before it can do any damage. And the rocket over here was fired too, which I must have missed. I will try and get that in for you. Does the stats load today? They do. Awesome. Right, so as you can see, I apparently had some value in the game all the way through, but I don't know how. This is the value of my commentary after this point, I think. There we go. So we've got Magnus, who's able to get the majority of the money. I don't know how he's done it, but he's done a really good job. To be fair, he did have a lot of eco at the end. And Magnus is dark blue, so as you can see through this section here, it doesn't even move this. So he was at a disadvantage according to this throughout the majority of that. Anyway, let me know what you think. I thought Magnus did a great job. Thank you guys for watching. There are 2 videos on screen right now. Feel free to click on one, and I'll see you there.